Hello everyone, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I hope all of you are doing good. This is the weekly market update live stream. If you are new to my YouTube channel, please make sure to subscribe to it and please make sure to like the live stream. If you are not following me over Twitter, 𝗟𝘁𝗿𝗲, this is my Twitter handle. Make sure to follow over Twitter as well. I occasionally share market updates and calls over my Twitter account as well. If you would like to receive more organized updates and calls, you can always join in the Discord server. The link you can find in the description of this video. In fact, we have a discount offer going on. We have a trial also available on the premium subscription. All of these links you can find in the description of this video. Make sure to join the Discord server. You can open up a support ticket and you can request the support staff to assist you, with the trial for the premium service. You would enjoy it, and if you if for some reason you cannot afford to join the Discord server, you can always look for the market updates and calls over my Twitter account as well. 𝗟𝘁𝗿𝗲, this is my Twitter handle. Once again, the link you can find in the description of this video. So let's start the stream. First of all, before going through the Bitcoin and the other related charts, I would like to update a few positions that we have open. First of all, we have a Bitcoin long position open that we just opened yesterday, the limit for which was 116.5K. And this is exactly why I'm saying that you need to follow over my Twitter account as well, because I did share this long position on my Twitter account also. 116.5K, this was our long position. The reason we entered into this long position was because of the deviation retest. I have explained this in the previous live stream as well, that deviation trade, it's one of the most powerful setups that you can trade. Although it's very uncommon sort of a setup, you wouldn't really find it every now and then on the charts. But whenever you are able to find a deviation setup, you need not to miss out on that. Okay. Especially if you have a good grip over support and resistance, you should always be trading a deviation setup. It's a very powerful setup and yet it's very easy to trade. There are no complexities involved. You don't really have to use any extra confluences. You just have to draw a support and resistance level simple and wait for the fake out and then wait for the retest part. So just to give you a brief overview of why exactly we took this long trade. And by the way, we had another long trade as well. The first long trade that we took was when this deviation was happening, and we took two TPs of that position. Then the second long trade, we took when this deviation retest was happening. And at that time, I had mentioned already that whenever the deviation retest happens, it's going to be a very good opportunity. So first of all, why did we enter this first long trade on Bitcoin? Obviously, the reason was because 𝗵𝗏𝗀𝗐𝗏𝗃, which I already have discussed in the previous live stream as well, because 𝗵𝗏𝗀𝗃 and USDT dominance, they were both retesting the resistance level, and this is exactly why we entered into that long position. But on top of that, we had a fake out happening below this important support level. We had this deviation happening below that important support level. And what happens in these kind of situations usually is that as soon as people would see, and we know that 90% of the traders trading these markets, especially in crypto, they are breakout traders. Very few people have patience to simply just wait for the retest part, and also retest is a little bit more difficult to trade. Whenever a breakout is happening, you usually have a momentum on your side, but whenever the retest is happening, you simply just have to go against the flow. To give you an example of this, we had a retest of important support levels just yesterday, and nobody was willing to buy at that time. Obviously, the situation was very different 24 hours ago when the market was going down a little bit and everybody was scared. And that is why you would need a big heart. That is why you would need a lot of courage to be a retest trader. And being a breakout trader, it's a lot more easier thing. You simply just have to go with the flow. You simply just have to trade the breakout as soon as it happens. But obviously trading breakouts, in my opinion, is a lot more less favorable in comparison to trading the retests, right? But you may have seen that in the past 1 year or so, we have been mainly trading the breakouts because this is what the market has been favoring. And this is exactly why you just cannot stick to one strategy. You would always have to keep evolving your strategy. You would always have to keep changing your strategy. You would always have to keep making some tweaks in your strategy. I am mainly a retest trader, but for the past 1 year or so, I have noticed that market was usually more favorable for the breakout trades, and this is exactly why I have been mainly trading the breakouts. But whenever you are trading a breakout as well, you need to keep an eye on some correlated charts like total 2, total 3, others dot D, others dominance, etc., which we'll be talking about later on. But I would request you all to please watch this live stream till the end, because these live streams, they are really a good source of information. You wouldn't really find all this information, you know, from other platforms, because people usually do not talk about these correlated charts. People usually do not bother to explain all of these logics behind trading these setups. They would simply just, explain one or two indicators saying that this is the reason why they are taking this long or short trade. But I'm trying my best to explain to you the complete logic, not just a market update part. I'm explaining to you the complete logic behind every single trade that we are taking. So the first trade that we took was because as soon as the breakout happened, we know that 90% of the traders out there, they are the breakout traders, meaning that they would try to trade this breakout. They would try to jump into short positions as soon as this breakout below the support was happening. And what would they do? Either they would simply just place their stop losses right above the support level. Okay, you can call it a resistance as well, because if you are a breakout trader, you would think that the breakout has already happened, so this is now flipped into a resistance level. But since I am someone who mainly trades based on these support and resistance levels, I'm very careful. Whenever I'm calling a particular level a support or a resistance, I always wait for the proper consolidation. I always wait for a few number of candles to form below a certain level or above a certain level to call it a support and resistance level. So it's very important that if you wish to become a support and resistance trader, then you need to have a complete grip over all these related concepts. And I personally feel that becoming a support and resistance trader is a lot more easier in comparison to just complicating the stuff instead of just dealing with the more complicated stuff. It's a lot more easier to simply just trade SR levels. Obviously I have a few other confluences as well that I trade based on, but trading SR levels, then deviations, etc., it's a very powerful setup in my opinion. So these people, they have a choice to simply just place their stop losses right above this region. Okay, let's just say that the first category of people did this. They placed their stop losses right above this level. Then the second category of people who are over leveraged, maybe they just saw an opportunity and they thought that this is once in a lifetime opportunity, so let's just jump into this 200x short Bitcoin position and try to make it all in one trade. So they are most likely going to have the liquidation prices right above this level. And then there is going to be this third category of people who would simply just not place stop loss, who would not have any liquidation prices. And this is large majority of people who simply just try not to have any stop loss in place. They would not really have any liquidation price on their position, and they would simply just try to stick to their position, which is the worst possible thing you can do. You should always have a proper invalidation point for your idea. You need to put a stop on the idea that you are trading. You need to understand that these markets, they are highly complex. There are thousands of different variables impacting these markets. So it's right to be wrong at certain times, and you just cannot be right 100% of the times. Okay, we have seen this happen so many times with these big traders as well. It's okay to be wrong at times, okay, but you need to accept, you need to stop that wrong thing as soon as possible. And this is exactly why having a proper invalidation point is very important. You predicted something, you forecasted something, that thing was not accurate, and now you simply just have to get out of that trade as soon as possible, minimizing your loss because your idea was incorrect. You simply just have to move on to the next one. So three categories of people. The first one have their stop losses placed above this level. Then the second category of people, they have their liquidation prices above this level. And then the third category of people, they do not have any stop loss, they do not have any liquidation price, they do not have any invalidation level. So as soon as market would start making this reversal, and by the way, I would not go into the details of why market would want to make a reversal here, or why exactly the market makers would try to push the price all the way down to this level. It has to do with the concept of the market maker model. I think every now and then we have discussed this in some of the previous live streams also. In fact, it's very simple that in order to get their orders filled, not out of some bad intention, people usually think of market makers as an evil entity. This is not really the case. Whenever you have a big amount of capital, you have a big responsibility as well, and you have some big sort of challenges as well. Smaller the capital, and you wouldn't really be having any idea of the challenges that a market maker faces on day-to-day basis. And this is exactly why they have a sort of necessity, they have a sort of, you can call it obligation to move the price down to a certain level in order to get their orders filled. Otherwise, they would simply just not be able to capitalize on this whole move. They are bullish, just like you are bullish, but at the same time, they cannot have their orders filled Just like you can simply just go to any of these exchanges and let's suppose buy $50,000 worth of Bitcoin or sell $50,000 worth of Bitcoin. They cannot really do this. So they have to push the price down to a certain level or up to a certain level, and only then they would have their positions filled. So we would not go into the details of that. I think it's very much understandable. But as soon as the market makers, sorry, as soon as the market makers, they would push the price above this level. So the first category of people who have their stop losses placed above this level, they're obviously going to get stopped out of their short positions. Okay. Then the second category of people who have their liquidation prices right above this level, they are going to get liquidated out of their short positions, people who are over leveraged. And then the third category of people, they would simply just not bother. They would simply just keep on panicking. But they would not close their position. We will be talking about this category later on, but we know that whenever the short positions are being closed, buying takes place. And I think it's very much understandable. Some people who have been trading for like 2-3 years, even they don't have any idea about this concept. But remember that whenever the long positions are being opened, buying takes place. Okay, that is how you profit from a long position. You opened a long position at a certain level, at a lower price, at a discounted price, and you sold that long position at a higher price. So you opened a long position, buying took place, and you sold that long position, selling took place, and you profited from this difference, right? You bought something at a lower price, you sold that thing at a higher price. That is how basically you profited from that long position. This is how the long positions actually work. With the short positions, you sold something at a higher price and you bought that thing at a discounted price or at a lower price. You sold something at a premium price, you bought that thing at a lower price or at the discounted price, and you profit from this difference, right? It's very simple. You sold something at a higher price, meaning that you sold it at a higher price, and you bought that thing when it was cheaper. And this is exactly how you profit from a short position. You sell something at a higher price, you buy that thing at a lower price. So whenever a long position is opened, buying takes place. Whenever a long position is being closed, selling takes place. Whenever a short position is being opened, selling takes place. Whenever a short position is being closed, buying takes place. So we know that in this case, let's just remove these drawings. So in this case, as soon as the first category of people got stopped out, people who had their stop losses placed above this level, we know that the short positions, they were being closed. So obviously short positions were being closed. It basically means buying was taking place. So short positions being closed, buying took place. And then the second category of people, they got liquidated out of their short positions. Obviously the short positions got closed. So basically it means that the buying took place. Buy high and sell low. Understood. Yeah, something like that. It only for the short positions, not buy high, sell low, but in fact you have to sell high and buy low. This is how you would profit from the short position. But anyways, so the first category of people got stopped out. The second category of people, they got liquidated. In both of these cases, selling took place. Buying took place because the short positions are being closed. And as a result, price would simply just continue to go higher. But that is not where the story ends. People like you and me who would notice this fake out happening, people like you and me who would notice this deviation happening, they would jump into the long positions. So now we have third category of people. The first category got stopped out, buying took place because of short positions being closed. Second category of people got liquidated, short positions being closed, buying took place. Then the third category of people jumped into long positions because they saw this deviation happen. And this is exactly why, once again, buying took place. So in all three cases, buying took place. And as a result, you would see that soon after this deviation happens, soon after this fake out happens, people would price would simply just go towards upside very immediately. And then there is this another category of people as well who would simply just, close their short trades as soon as they would notice that their idea is getting invalidated. Okay. This is the third category of people which we discussed earlier. But remember that this third category is very important. Some of them already closed their short positions. Some of them were wise enough. They closed their short positions, but some simply just wanted to, keep the short position open and they did not want to take the loss. So what would happen and why exactly the deviation setup is such a powerful setup? Why exactly the deviation trade is a very powerful trade? Because it's based on proper logic. I just explained to you the complete logic behind the deviation setup. Now, whenever the deviation retest would happen, meaning that whenever the price would go back down to this level, all these people who did not have a stop loss placed on their short trade, all these people who did not have a liquidation price on their short trade, all these people who did not close their short position for whatever reason, whenever price would go back down to this certain level, whenever price would go back down to this support level, this category of people, they would try to exit their short positions, break even. Once again, the short positions are being closed. As a result, buying is taking place. Then there is going to be the second category of people who would see this retest happening, and people like me who already know that the first retest is always your single best opportunity to enter into a long or a short position. Because this is the first retest, they would jump into long positions. Okay. And then there will be this third category of people who would see this deviation retest happening, and as a result, they would jump into long positions. So the first category closed their short positions break even or try to exit their short positions in minimum loss. And that is how buying took place. The second category of people, they opened long positions at this retest, okay, retest of support. And the third category of people, they simply just opened long positions based on the retest of this higher time frame support or the deviation retest, okay. And as a result, in all three cases, buying is taking place, and as a result, price would simply just go higher. And this is exactly why the deviation trade is a very powerful setup. I already had mentioned this thing when this fake out was happening, that whenever this deviation retest happens, it's going to be a very good opportunity. Somebody just dropped the question in the chat box: how can you correctly identify the correct level in this case support? Whenever I put support, they look slightly different than your analysis. Okay, so this is something which you would have to do, which you would have to work on. When I first started trading almost like 7 to 8 years ago, something that I hated the most was drawing support and resistance level, because I always thought that the SR levels that I would draw are most likely going to be different than what these big influencers would draw, okay? But something that I was chasing was perfection. I was not realizing the fact that in trading, there is no such thing called perfection, okay? If you would draw let's suppose if you would draw the support level on Bitcoin, most likely you would draw it at 116,000, or maybe you would draw it at 115.8K, or maybe 116.3K. But that does not mean that my support is at 116K and yours is going to be at 112K or 113K. Okay. There cannot be a huge difference between the support that you would draw the support that I would draw. There can be a small difference, like yours can be at 116.5K and mine can be at 116K, but there is not really going to be a huge difference between the supports that both of us would draw. And this is why, you need to first of all practice drawing these SR levels. It's very simple. This is the first step towards trading. Whenever I teach people about, all of these concepts. And by the way, I have a mentorship program, and in that mentorship program, we have like hundreds of different concepts. We have 300 plus videos that we are planning to make. Okay. We are at 50 so far, but we are planning to get the content up to 300 plus videos, which means that there is going to be every single thing related to trading, every single concept related to trading that I personally know about. All the information that I have in my mind, I try my best to just, give all of that information to my mentorship students. But the point is that the first thing that we do in that mentorship class is to learn to draw the SR levels, is to learn to draw the support and resistance level. And remember that, whenever I wake up every single morning, I have to go through all of these coins in my watch list. If I show you my watch list, this is the watch list that I always go through. BLOFIN futures pairs. You can see that there are almost, if I show you the numbers in this watch list, there are almost 446 pairs, 446 symbols in this watch list, meaning that I would have to look at 446 charts every single day. And if I spend more than 1 minute looking at a single chart, then it's simply just not going to be feasible for me, because I have some other tasks also to take care of. And this is exactly why you really have just 5 to 10 seconds. As soon as you would open up a chart, you usually have 5 to 10 seconds to draw an SR level. You simply just have to draw a support, you simply just have to draw a resistance level, and that is the time that you get. And it would obviously require some practice. You would need to at least practice drawing these SR levels for at least 6 months. This is what I personally recommend. You would have to continue to draw these SR levels for at least 6 months, and only then you would be able to, get towards the precision part. Yeah, 446 pairs, because these are the number of pairs listed on BLOFIN. Same is the case with Binance as well. Binance has like 355 pairs, and Bybit has the same number, around like 446 or something like that. I can show you the Bybit as well. Yeah, so Bybit has 483. I just try to update this watch list every now and then. It's very simple. If you guys want, I can show you how to create a watch list immediately with the updated number of pairs. Sometimes the pairs are being removed, sometimes new pairs are being added, so you always have to, every like 15 days or so, you would have to create a new watch list. But anyways, so this is the reason why we have a long position open on Bitcoin. We just took the second TP on this long position as well, because USDT dominance, which we'll be talking about later on, is sitting on a higher time frame support level. Also, we have this descending trend line on the Bitcoin chart. You can see that we have the first rejection, then we have the second rejection, then we have the third rejection. If you would draw it slightly like this, if you would move it slightly down to this level, you can see that we are having like third and fourth and fifth rejection as well, which means that it's only a matter of time that we are going to have a breakout towards upside. But I just want to play a safe game for now, because August, historically speaking, has not been the best month for me. I was pointing this out the other day, and someone told me that historically speaking, August has been the worst possible month for crypto, because Bitcoin in general has experienced a 20% drawdown through the month of August, which means that it's not just with me, it's simply just with every other person. And this is exactly why I would just want to play the safe game during the month of August specifically, because we know that September is going to be one of the best months, hopefully, because we still have 56% probability. I haven't looked at the updated graph, but let's just do that real quick. What's the updated probability for September's FOMC? So the next FOMC meeting is on 17th of September 2025. You can see that the after the last FOMC that we had yesterday, the probability for one rate cut was sitting at 56%, and now it has gone down to 39%, which is a bad thing. But remember that we have so much of the important data coming up in the next few days, so that is why this probability graph is going to get updated in real time. But right now we have only 39% probability that rate cuts are happening in the month of September. I still feel like that this is going to go up a little bit, but after the press conference yesterday, things have changed a little bit. We will not go into the details of that, because all those things have already been said by many other analysts. So I would simply just focus on the charts in this live stream. So we have this descending trend line on the Bitcoin chart. I don't really know when exactly the breakout is going to happen, but I'm not going to trade the second retest of this higher time frame support. So if we just go back down to retest this support level once again, I'm simply just not going to enter into any other long position, because I'm not a big fan, to be very honest, on trading a certain level over and over again. This was the first retest, this was a deviation retest as well, so that is why we entered into this long position. And another important thing is that sorry, USDT dominance has been going in between these levels over and over again. This is the higher time frame resistance level, this is the higher time frame, not exactly higher time frame, but higher time frame support level for USDT dominance. This is exactly where we took second TP on our long position on Bitcoin. We can see that USDT dominance right now is sitting at support, and this is exactly why I would not recommend opening any long position right now, because the situation is a little bit different. That is why it's not really a good idea. And remember that in this live stream we are going to take a look at the macro situation as well, because the macro situation is a lot more different. But in terms of the micro situation, you can see that this is the resistance level. This is what we have been doing. We open a long position on Bitcoin. Whenever USDT dominance goes back up to this support level, we open a short, not exactly short position, but we simply just try to de-risk our long position as soon as price on the USDT dominance goes back down to this level. So in terms of the macro point of view, I'm telling you this with almost like 90% certainty that sooner or later USDT dominance is going back up to 4.64% level. I was mentioning the same thing. I remember very well that I was mentioning the same thing about this level as well back in the month of May, back in the month of June, that when we had this massive drop on the USDT dominance chart and we had a massive pump on the Bitcoin chart. I was mentioning that sooner or later we will go back up to retest this higher time frame resistance level, because we know that the first retest of this resistance has not happened. If you go and watch my previous live stream that we did on YouTube, you would notice the same thing that I mentioned about 𝗨𝗽𝗆𝐻𝑐 as well. 𝗨𝗨𝗆𝐶.D, I discussed in detail during the last live stream that it's the same thing as USDT dominance. It simply just takes into account all the stable coins dominance market share. So that is why it's a little bit more accurate. But the point is that because this resistance on the USDT dominance chart has not been retested before, I'm telling you this with almost 90% certainty that sooner or later we are going to have a move up to 4.65% level on the USDT dominance chart. So just to give you an approximation of what that would look like on the Bitcoin chart, it will go up at least 8.54%. Okay, the first retest we played, the second retest we played, the third retest we have already played. There already have been like, 2 or 3 retests of this resistance level, which means that it's only a matter of time that price would now simply just break above this resistance level. You can, by the way, say the same thing about this support level as well. But I personally feel like that there is going to be a retest of 112,000 to 106,000 range. Sooner or later, that's going to happen, and it's going to be a very good opportunity for you, just as same as this one was, just like this one was. In this case, you can see that we had a retest of this level and then we went all the way down to from 4.97 all the way down to 4.53. So in this situation, this retest has already happened. This was the retest of this resistance level, but the retest of this resistance has not happened, which means that this is the only missing part of the puzzle. And I will show you on the Bitcoin chart as well that what exactly is the significance of this number. But for now, just keep this in your mind that USDT dominance has every possible chance of going at least 8.54% up from the current market price. Okay, so if I just take you to the Bitcoin chart, let's open a blank chart here. XC chart. Bitget maybe, nope. Okay, anyway, so if I just show you the blank chart for Bitcoin, and if I just remove all of these drawings, something that I want to show you guys, let's go to the daily time frame chart. First of all, remember that if you look at the USDT dominance chart, there is a probability that Bitcoin may go at least 8.5% down. So 8.5% down on the Bitcoin chart is going to be somewhere around 108,000 level. Now let's first of all try to, understand the importance of this, 108,000 level. First of all, if you would draw the fib levels, we know that, this is how the trend has been going on. Okay, this was your impulsive wave, corrective wave. And if I just draw the waves for you, this was your impulsive wave, this was your corrective wave, impulsive wave, corrective wave, and impulsive wave, which means that it's possible for you to simply just draw the fib levels from the start of impulsive wave to the end of impulsive wave. So if you draw the fib levels from the start of impulsive wave to the end of impulsive wave, you would notice that there is a possibility that price may go down to 108,000. And we know the importance of this already. I have discussed this in the past live stream, and this is why I would recommend, even if you're not interested to take any of the signals that I give, even if you're not interested in any of the positions that I provide you guys with, you can watch these live streams and the previous live streams as well, just for the informational purposes, because throughout these live streams, we just do not discuss the market situation, but we also discuss in details the things that have already happened. Okay, so it's very good idea to have have a look at these live streams that we have done in the past. That would be really beneficial for you, really knowledgeable for you. So if you would draw the fib levels from the start of impulsive wave to the end of impulsive wave, you would notice that there is a chance that price may go down to 61.8 65% fib level as well. And I have showed you already the importance of fib levels. If I draw the fib levels from the start of impulsive wave to the end of impulsive wave, you can see that this first precise bounce was at 61.8% fib level. And remember what I always say about the fib levels, you would always see the first bounce at 0.618 fib level, which is called the golden ratio. But notice how beautiful the thing is. Notice how beautiful the whole situation is. I'm always saying that the 0.618 bounce is not the actual bounce. It is the weak bounce, or it is the weak rejection. The actual bounce or rejection would always happen somewhere around 0.65 to 0.705 fib levels. And this is exactly what happened in this situation also. You can see that we went down to 0.618% fib, 0.618 fib level, or 61.8% fib level. We had a bounce 100.5k. We went all the way up to 110,000. I was probably the only person at that time saying that this bounce may not really be able to create a new all-time high above this 112,000 range, because this bounce has happened at 0.618 level, and there is going to be most likely another bounce down to 0.705 or 0.65% fib level, 0.65 fib level, and that is where you would see a new higher high or a new all-time high. And we can see that the bounce happened to 0.65 and this one down to 0.705, and this is what the importance of fib level really is. You can see this for yourself, how important these levels really are. And then we ultimately created a new higher high. So the same way, you can also draw the fib levels from the start of impulsive wave to the end of impulsive wave, and you can see that there is a chance that we may go back down to 108,000 level. And I'm always saying this thing, nature works the same way in these financial markets also, that people who would draw the support level, and I would give you the example for this. What happens in most of the situations is that you would draw a higher time frame support at 73-74,000 level. And then there would be this other guy who would draw the fib levels from the start of impulsive wave, end of impulsive wave. And as soon as price would go back down to this level, you would be buying at that level because there is this higher time frame support at 73,000, and this is the first retest of this higher time frame support at 73,000. This is your reason to buy, or this is your reason to get into a long position on Bitcoin. It's basically the same thing. But then there would be this other guy who is basically buying because price is retesting 61.8, 65%, 0.705% fib level. So nature in these financial markets would give everyone a reason to bid certain levels, and everybody would have a certain point to claim the victory. Someone would say, people like me would say that price bounced at this level because it was support. Someone else would say that price bounced at this level because it was a fib level. Someone else would say that price bounced at this level because there is 1-day 12-period exponential moving average, or maybe quarterly VWAP, maybe ELD VWAP. I can show you literally multiple examples of this. If I just show you the quarterly VWAP, you can see that we had a very nice bounce at this level. I just showed you that this bounce can be explained very well in terms of 0.705 bounce. But at the same time, this bounce can very well be explained in terms of a higher time frame support at 98,000 level. This is the higher time frame support in 98,000, sorry. You can draw the higher time frame support. You can see that rejection, 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 bounce, rejection, rejections, bounce, which means that there is a higher time frame support present at 98,000. So higher time frame support at 98,000. If you would draw the fib level, 65%, 0.705 fib level somewhere around here, then you have this 1-day quarterly VWAP also present around here. So everybody would have some sort of a reason to claim that this is why I need to buy Bitcoin here, and this is exactly why price should be going up from here. Okay, so that is how nature in these financial markets works, and it's a very beautiful thing. But anyways, the point that I'm trying to explain is that if you look at the USDT dominance chart, it's telling you that price on the USDT dominance chart would go up to at least this resistance level. Okay, that is where the first retest is going to happen, and that retest is going to be your single best opportunity to take a long or a short position, because we know that the first rule about SR level is that the first retest is always your single best opportunity to take a long or a short position. But we also know that at the time of this first retest, price would be down to these 61%, 61.8% or 65% fib level. And you can also draw the higher time frame support. This is how you would draw it, the higher time frame support, and you may have a move down to 108,000. So all these three things are pointing out in the same direction. And by the way, if you draw the higher time frame support at this 108,000 level, it's very much similar to this retest that we had at the 74,000, 75,000 level. So price continued to consolidate in the same range. We had a new all-time high on 13th of March. We had a break above this level in November. So price just continued to consolidate here for 5 to 6 months. The same is the situation here. The new all-time high we created on 16th of December, right? And then price just continued to consolidate here for 6-7 months. And then finally we had a breakout in the month of July. And now whenever this retest happens, it's going to be sell your house, sell your kidney, or sell whatever you have to. But this retest, it's going to be a very good opportunity because all of the confluences are aligned perfectly in the same direction. And I believe that you should be buying at this level. Okay, this is very important. But remember that this is the major swing high, okay, for now. And this is the major swing low. Somebody was asking in the Discord chat that how do you draw the fib level? You always have to draw the fib level looking at the direction of impulsive and corrective waves. So this is how your waves look like: impulsive, corrective, impulsive, corrective, impulsive. What is a function of the Fibonacci levels? Fibonacci levels, or Fibonacci retracement levels, as the name points out, Fibonacci retracement levels enable you to find the length of the retracement wave, which means that you cannot draw the fib levels if the situation is something like this. You cannot just say that, okay, let's draw the fib level, start of impulsive wave, end of impulsive wave. No, you cannot do that. Remember that the name Fibonacci retracement levels itself is pointing out that this tool enables you to find the length of the retracement wave, okay? And to draw this tool, or to draw the Fibonacci retracement levels, you need to have a very good understanding of the market structure And on top of that, you need to be able to differentiate between the impulsive and the corrective waves. This is your impulsive, this is your corrective wave, impulsive, corrective, and impulsive wave. And how do you draw the fib level? Start of impulsive wave, end of impulsive wave. And in an uptrend, you would wait for price to go back down to 61.8% or 65% or 0.705 fib level, whatever your preferred fib level really is. And that is where you would try to bid that coin. So same is the situation here. You can see that we have to draw the fib level from the start of impulsive wave to the end of impulsive wave. And this is your major swing low, this is your major swing high. If we create a new major swing high, okay, there is a possibility that price may just go back above this last wick and we may have a new high. And that is when you would have to adjust the positioning of the fib level. So right now, this is your start and this is your end. But if we create a new higher high, you would simply just have to continue to adjust this tool the same way. Okay. So this is all about the Bitcoin chart for now. You can see that this is the level where I'm looking at. I would just soon after the live stream ends, I'm going to simply just drop the limits for this level, 108,000 to 109,000. That is once again going to be a very good opportunity. And on top of that, all of these things seem to be perfectly aligned with each other. Ethereum has not given a retest at 3,000 level. We had a breakout above 3,000, but on the daily, we have not retested the 3,000 level. USDT dominance has not retested the 4.64% level. Remember that Bitcoin has not retested 108,000, 109,000 level, ever since we had a breakout above this level. Total 2 has not retested the support. Total 3 has not retested the support. Others.D has not retested the support. Others has not retested the support. Others BTC has not retested the support. Okay. So all of these things, they need to align perfectly. And whenever the retest happens on all of these charts at once, that is going to be a very good opportunity for you to bid these coins. Same is the case with any other higher market cap coin as well. So right now for Bitcoin, this is the level where I'm looking at. And I just gave you the complete reasoning for this. If you have to look at the short-term moves, then remember that this chart also you would have to keep into, take into account. You can see that this is a chart for 𝗨𝗿𝘆𝗽.c.d. In fact, we have been using this chart to build the long positions on Bitcoin. Whenever the retest of resistance happens, we simply just take long position on Bitcoin. Whenever price goes back down to retest this higher time frame support, that is where we close our, or we simply just try to de-risk our long position. As soon as the reclaim of any of these levels happens, I highly doubt that there is going to be a reclaim of this higher time frame support. For some weird reason, it's been almost 10 to 14 days that TradingView is having this glitch in which most of these indices, they are having incomplete data. So maybe if you guys want to help me, one way, you can just open a support ticket with TradingView and ask them to fix this problem. Most of these indices have the same issue, that the data is not loading perfectly fine, and it's simply just not working. So you would have to open a support ticket with TradingView. I already have one open, but they have not responded back to me. So yeah, you would have to open a support ticket with TradingView and ask them to fix this issue. But anyways, this is the higher time frame support, this is the higher time frame resistance. If the reclaim of any of these levels happens, only then I would simply just try to change my point of view. And if Bitcoin has to go down to 112,000, 108,000, then the reclaim of this level needs to happen. Okay. And then we would judge based on, wherever the next levels are, we would judge, what we should be doing, next. But for now, 112,000, 206,000, this is the preferred range. And most likely there will be a wick down to 108,000, which is going to be a very good opportunity for you. Now let's take a look at, we've also been using Bitcoin dominance. You can see that I already have this doodle drawn, and this projection was perfect. This is exactly where we opened some of our long positions. We were able to profit from those long positions. So on Bitcoin dominance as well, you can see that I have the alert set around here. I would have the alert set around here as well. Whenever the reclaim of any of these levels happens, that is when I would know that I need to play cautious. And I am anticipating that there is going to be a reclaim of this resistance level on the BTC.D chart or on the BTC DOM chart, the retest of or the reclaim of this higher time frame resistance level. Because total 2, total 3, others.D, others and others BTC, they're not really looking good. And they need to align perfectly with Bitcoin dominance. So regarding Bitcoin dominance, my point of view is that there is going to be a reclaim of this resistance level. Remember this thing. And why do I say that? Because if you take a look at the total 2 chart, okay, this is where and remember that a total 2 takes into account, total 2 is only excluding Bitcoin's dominance, Bitcoin's market cap, but total 2 is indeed taking into account Ethereum's market cap, which means that if you wish to know what exactly is going to happen with ETH, you can always look at the total 2 chart. Or if you wish to take a look at what exactly is going to happen with Bitcoin, you have an option to take a look at Bitcoin chart itself, USDT dominance chart, USDC dominance chart, 𝗡𝗿𝗆𝐶.D chart, BTC USDT.3s, BTC USDT.3l, BTC USDT.5s, BTC USDT.5l, and one chart that I've never mentioned, which you can use to predict the movements on Bitcoin, is the total chart itself, because the total chart takes into account the total crypto market cap, and we know that out of that total crypto market cap, 65% is being held in terms of Bitcoin, because this is the market dominance of Bitcoin, 61.56%, which means that total price action is going to be influenced heavily by Bitcoin. And this is exactly why you would have seen that during the past few days, altcoins have been going down, but Bitcoin has remained stable around these levels. The main reason is because total is sitting at this higher time frame support. Total is right now sitting at this higher time frame support, and only if total loses its support, Bitcoin would be losing the 116k level. And you see how all of these things, they are somehow perfectly connected with each other. I mean, this is really beautiful thing. I don't know how many of you are actually able to understand this, but because I look at these charts every single day, sometimes it just shocks me how beautifully all of these things, they are intertwined with each other or connected with each other very beautifully, influenced by one and the other thing. For example, with Bitcoin, you can see that at 116,000 support with total, which is, there is a very indirect connection. Directly speaking, total has got nothing to do with Bitcoin. But because total takes into account the market dominance of Bitcoin itself, and we know that the market dominance of Bitcoin is 61.8%, which means that out of this $3.83 trillion market cap, 61.8% is being held in terms of Bitcoin, which means that this chart it's going to be heavily influenced by Bitcoin itself. Same is the case with ETH. Total is sitting at support, but opposite is the case with Total 2. Total 2 is sitting at resistance, and so is Ethereum. Because Total 2 excludes Bitcoin's dominance, but it indeed takes into account Ethereum's dominance, and we know that Ethereum's dominance is 12% right now, which means that Total 2's price action is going to be heavily influenced by Ethereum's dominance. And this is exactly why Ethereum is consolidating below the $4,000 resistance level, and same is the case with, Ethereum is consolidating below $4,000 resistance level, and same is the case with Total 2, which is simply just getting rejected at this multi-year resistance level. And this is exactly why, I'm warning you that you need to be very careful with any bigger market cap long positions, because Total 2 is sitting at multi-year resistance level. You can see that this was the all-time high back in the month of 6th of November 2021. Then once again, we tapped this high in December 2024. Then once again in the month of January 2025. Then once again in the month of July 2025. So we are sitting at multi-year resistance level. So you need to play very cautious. And on top of that, we have a very nice looking, beautiful, smiling double top pattern. And remember that, what are the most important reversal patterns? Double top, double bottom, head and shoulder, inverse head and shoulder. What are the conditions that need to be satisfied for these patterns to be valid? The first condition says that these patterns, they need to be formed in an uptrend or in a downtrend. It's not like price is moving sideways and you just spotted a head and shoulder or double top, double bottom pattern. You would say that, okay, this is a valid pattern. No, you cannot really do that. So okay, so the first condition says that it needs to be formed in an uptrend or downtrend. Okay, in this situation, this got formed in the uptrend. You can see that right here as well, we had this not very nice looking, but there was a small double top pattern. And I have noticed that with these indices, you have to keep an eye on these patterns. They're really, really good. In this situation also, you can see that, the first shoulder, the second shoulder, and then the head, and then you had the neckline, had a break above the neckline, came back down, retested this neckline, and it was a very good reversal pattern. This was inverse head and shoulder, by the way. So the thing here is that you have a double top pattern. The first condition is satisfied. The second condition says that these reversal patterns, they are only going to be valid if they're formed at some higher time frame support and resistance level. In this situation, this inverse head and shoulder pattern, which is a bullish reversal pattern, which means that after the formation of this pattern, you will be expecting the price to move towards upside. It got formed at this high time frame support level, and this is exactly why this was a very beautiful pattern, right? In this situation, we know that the double top pattern, it's a bearish reversal pattern, meaning after the formation of this pattern, you will be expecting the price to move towards downside, and it needs to be formed at some higher time frame resistance level. Same is the case here. It got formed at this higher time frame multi-year resistance level, so you cannot ignore the importance of this double top pattern. This is exactly why I'm a little bit worried that it's not a good idea. We are sitting at higher time frame resistance level on this index total 2, and it may not really be a good idea. This is exactly why we closed 85% of our Ethereum long and spot position. We opened at 3000 and we made enough profits, closed at 3900, 3925 level, and that was a very good decision. I'm happy with it. And then the final condition which needs to be satisfied with this, with these reversal patterns, says that you need to wait for the breakout of the neckline. You need to wait for the break below the neckline or breakout above the neckline. In this situation, you would have to wait for the break below the neckline to confirm that, okay, this pattern is now completely valid, and that is why you can trade that is when you can trade it. But remember that USDT dominance, okay, let me show you real quick. USDT dominance, this retest is pending, okay? And on the Bitcoin chart, you can see that the retest of, on the Bitcoin chart, the retest of, it was a spot chart, right? On the Bitcoin chart, the retest of 108,000 is pending. On the total 2 chart, the retest of this higher time frame support is pending. We have seen that happen so many times that price goes up to this resistance level, then goes all the way down to retest this higher time frame support, and that turns out to be a very good opportunity, honestly speaking. Then we take a look at Ethereum's dominance. Okay, this is Ethereum's dominance. On Ethereum's on the Ethereum chart, not exactly dominance, the retest of this 3000 level is pending. Okay, and finally you can take a look at the total 3 chart as well. Total 3 excludes Ethereum's dominance. It simply just excludes Ethereum's dominance and takes into account the market cap of other, or almost all the other coins available in the market. And in this situation, you can see that the retest of this higher time frame support level is pending, and we are already sitting at higher time frame resistance level, which means that you need to be very careful with any long positions that you are building right now. I have slowly de-risked all the positions that I had open. So yeah, it would be a good idea. You can see that this is a multi-year resistance level. So there is a very good possibility that total 3 would also go back down to this level. So total 3 mainly dictates the higher market cap coins, and this is why you should be waiting for total 3 to go back down to this higher time frame support. Total 2 mainly dictates Ethereum, so you need to wait for total 2 to go back down to this higher time frame support. That is where you would enter into Ethereum, and this is going to be perfectly synchronized with the retest of 3000 on Ethereum. So Bitcoin would eventually go back down to 108,000. Ethereum would eventually go back down to 3,000. Total 2 would eventually go back down to this higher time frame support. Total 3 would eventually go back down to this higher time frame support. Others.d would eventually go back down to this higher time frame support. Others would eventually go back down to this higher time frame support. Remember that on others chart as well, which we have a very nice looking, once again, a double top pattern. You have the first top, you have the second top, you have the neckline, and price is just sitting at resistance level. All the conditions are being satisfied, which means that this is also looking like a reversal situation. And whenever this retest happens, it's going to be a very good opportunity for us to get into these smaller market cap and mid market cap coins. And finally, others BTC as well, which gives you the strength of the low market cap and mid market cap coins against Bitcoin. If you would draw the fib levels, you can see that the retest of this higher time frame support, first of all, it's pending, and on top of that, if you would draw the fib levels, you can see that 61-65% levels are perfectly aligned in this range, which means if I just once again count it for you, Bitcoin 108,000, okay, it may happen after Bitcoin goes up to 125, 128. So this is a long-term point of view. Okay, short-term, we are already positioned in our long positions. We are already playing our long positions. We just took the long position on at 116.5k level as well. This is how you play it. But for the macro point of view, 108,000 Bitcoin, 3,000 Ethereum, total 2 higher time frame support, total 3 higher time frame support, others.d higher time frame support, retest, others BTC also this higher time frame support, and finally others chart as well, the higher time frame support. So all of these things, they would be perfectly synchronized with each other, and that is when we would enter into the positions. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, please make sure to drop in the chat box. Frogflex is asking, do you also use indicator while scouting through coins? No, I don't really use indicators. With SR levels, I actually don't. I just applied this indicator. Someone asked me to give a overview of this indicator, I'm simply just looking at this indicator. It's called SR version 2. Maybe it would make things a little bit easier for me, but because I draw the SR levels, you can see that these SR levels are quite off from the ones that I have drawn already, which means that this indicator is not really going to be worth it for me. But yeah, people a lot many times ask me that can they draw the SR levels using an indicator? And I'm always telling them that this is the first step that you have to take, and please do not do it using an indicator, because having a proper understanding of SR levels is very important, and you need to be able to draw these SR levels manually. This is very important. Burned is saying, I'm a Foxian for more than 1 month now. Give their Discord a try, take a trial, and believe me, you will stay. Your learning curve will be insane. Yes, absolutely right. The learning curve will be insane. Uh, Lots of information is being shared in Discord. So yeah, even if you are not planning to take any signals, you can just do the investment in your, knowledge, for your knowledge as well, for your education as well. I believe that it's a very good source of information. See, how did I learn trading? I did not have a mentor. Okay, I did not encourage people that you can only learn if you would buy my mentorship. I have never really said it to someone that you need to be able to buy my mentorship in order to be a successful trader. Although 5 to 6 people who took my mentorship are now full-time analysts working in different communities, they are full-time traders, they are profitable, they are successful. But the point is that the way that I learned, I did not read any book, I did not watch any YouTube video, uh, I did not have any mentor. I was simply just looking at all different sources of information. Twitter was the primary source of information for me first, and then these different communities. I was looking at every single person sharing their chart, every single person. One was saying that Bitcoin is going down to zero. One was saying that Bitcoin is simply just going up to moon. But although these two opinions, they were conflicting opinions, but they were backed by some sort of reasoning. So the person saying that Bitcoin would go down to zero did have some sort of opinion, okay, did have some sort of logic to back their opinion. And the person saying that Bitcoin would go up to $500,000 or $1 million or 100K, 200K, almost 7, 8 years ago, they did have a reason to back that opinion. So you were getting access to two different sorts of opinion, both the sides of the mirror. So it was the primary source of information for me, Twitter, and these different communities, and that is why I loved it. I loved, I still do. I enjoy reading everyone, share their opinion. Everyone shared their analysis. Some people say that it distracts them, and that is why they do not look at all the different sources of information. But that's not true in my case, because I am learning every single day. I get to learn a few new things every single day, and that is what's very important for me, to just have access to all these different sources of information. I do not have the 100% amount of knowledge that I would want to have, but yeah, this is very important. Can you please take a look at WAL chart? Yeah, sure. I can do that. Vishal Kumar is saying, bro, BTC at 108K, should we do spot or long? That's completely on you. Spot or long. I think we are going to have a leverage long position at 112K as well. I do not want to place any limits beforehand, because I somehow feel like the move towards 112K or 108K is going to, have a lot of people, is going to catch a lot of people off guard, meaning that they're going to panic a lot and there is going to be complete carnage. So that is why, I am not recommending placing any limits beforehand. I would simply just judge the reaction, because the range is wide. And the main thing is, with Bitcoin the range is wide, but with USDT dominance it's a very small range. Okay, this is the resistance retest I was talking about. The resistance retest did happen, and that was a good opportunity. So for now, I do not precisely know where USDT dominance would be, sorry, where Bitcoin would be once USDT dominance is right here. Okay, so that is why we have to wait for USDT dominance to go up there. We can only predict the range, that it's going to be somewhere in between 112K to 108 to 107K. But that's a big range itself. That's a $5,000 range. So in order to narrow down this range a little bit, we have to wait for USDT dominance to first of all go up to this resistance level, and based on that we would be able to say that, okay, now the difference is only 1%, 2%, 3%, and now we can just take this trade. If you were to work on scalping, what confluence or indicator would you look for? Honestly speaking, scalping using the SR levels may not really work, and it has a reason. I'm not going to get into the details of that, but it's not like the SR levels, they do not work on the lower time frame chart. It's simply just humans have different perception of time frames. Okay, so 1 minute, it may sound like 1 minute to you and me, a very small period of time, but an organism that has a lifetime of 1 minute, or that has a lifetime of few seconds, or has a lifetime of few hours, 1 minute may simply just sound like an eternity. Is simply just a huge amount of time, is a long period of time, is a complete lifetime for some organisms. And this is why Einstein said that time is not absolute, time is relative, which means that every single human being has a different perception about time. We all have different perceptions about time. Obviously, this is not what Einstein meant. He was meaning it in terms of scientific perception that, time is relative, it's not absolute, based on the curve of space time and all those things. But somehow the conclusion that you can draw from this statement is that humans have different perceptions of time, or different organisms have different perceptions of time, because in Einstein's theory, you know you have this one person who is moving with the speed of light. Okay, and they would have an altogether different perception of time, so we can call this person moving with the speed of light a totally different organism or totally different species, because it's not possible for humans to move with the speed of light. So that is why every single human, not every single species would have a different perception of time. And that is why 1 minute, whenever we see a support or resistance working on the 1 minute time frame chart, it may really give you just a very small what's happening with MASA, because this is a short position that we have open. Okay, that's down a lot. That's a good thing. Damn, we just opened this short position on MASA, so it's down a lot. Good thing. Wow, nice. How many of you are in this position already? Yeah, anyway, so I was saying that because SR levels, they do work on the smaller time frames as well. Okay, and by the way, I did share this position in the Discord server, in our Discord server. And if you would like to receive once again more calls, you can always, yep, you can always join in the Discord server. You would get to see more calls, updates, and everything. Yep, it's a good thing. The volume was on MASA. Let me see the volume. Yep, it had a huge volume. Well, it had a volume of almost almost $8 million. That's a good volume. Neff is saying it's me. Happy to see you here, Neff. Happy to see you here. I don't know how many people join in from the other Discord communities, but it makes me really happy to see people joining in from other servers as well. It's not just 𝗏𝗏𝗀. Um, I missed that shot as I was watching your live stream. Still valid to take? No, it's no longer valid to take, because you can see that price is down almost like 8%, 9% already. So may not really be a good idea. Yeah, you can see that. Almost 10% down we are already. So, yep, not a good idea. Are you gonna go through BTC DOM? No, BTC DOM would go up. Any opinion on Sui? Looks so resilient to dips and usually holds and bounces hard up. It's not just with Sui. Remember that Sui, H-bar, Ling, ADA, all of them would go down once total 3 starts going down, or total 2 starts going down. Okay, so because, and remember this thing, I've always mentioned this thing, that no matter how good the chart itself is, okay, no matter how good the chart itself looks like, you would have to look at these indices as well. So if others.d is sitting on support and you have a short position open, then that's not really going to be a good idea. Okay, until and unless the position that you are about to take is an outlier, is a really different sort of a position. I mean, that's a totally different thing. Do you think we can get a trendline breakout on Bitcoin? Yep, it's possible. It's possible that we may have a trendline breakout on Bitcoin, but on daily also it's looking good. But for now, we do not have any such signs of trend line breakout. But when there is a trend line, there is always a breakout. How come you called no heads up on the coin, even though it's not a break? Yes, it was sort of a breakout. I have been looking at this coin for the past, honestly speaking, 4 days, 3 to 4 days. If I show you this coin, you can see that it's just ranging. Here you go. So from on the 4 hour time frame chart, you can see that it was just constantly ranging around the same levels. So yeah, it was a sort of a breakout trade. You can say that. ETH wants to break out of the monthly trend line. Yup, the monthly candle close on ETH is going to be a really important one. Are you considering any other short positions soon? No, I haven't really considered opening any other short positions for now. Uh, I haven't, I have not given it a thought for now. May I ask what determines heads up worthy? Nothing really, to be very honest. It depends on the situation. I just have to update the position. Just give me 1 second, guys. If you have any further questions, you can just drop in the chat box. I'm just going to take 1 or 2 minutes to update the position. Any other coins you're looking today? I would reschedule my dinner with my girlfriend so I don't miss any signals today. Don't worry, I would give a heads up or something like that. Yes, because we do not have any open position for now, so we would definitely be looking at maybe another coin. But because others.d sitting at support, okay, this was just a this was just a position which actually was against the flow, I would say. So we have to play it very carefully. Remember that. In fact, I have 2 or 3 long positions that I'm looking at, but I'm not super comfortable, honestly, going long right now. That was really fast, okay? This one was really good. Yep, it's a request to all of you. Almost 50 plus people are watching the live stream. Only 25 of you have liked it. I would really appreciate if you are all able to just like the live stream and subscribe to the YouTube channel. It would mean a lot. I just need 1 more minute because I'm sharing the update in my channel. Still 34 of you have liked it. Still 10 people missing. What's happening with others BTC? Yep, others BTC is dropping, and this is exactly why uh this coin also had a big drop. Okay, guys. Uh, Nicholas is saying, if we get a monthly close above trendline on ETH, do you still expect a retest of 3K? Okay, now this is very important question. And let me show you the monthly time frame chart for ETH. Okay, so let's say that this is the monthly chart for ETH. Let's remove the drawings and let's just imagine that the monthly candle closes like this. And by the way, there is still like 10 hours and 44 minutes for this monthly candle to close. So anything could be happening. This is crypto we are talking about. But if this monthly candle closes like this, then there is going to be the first monthly close above this trend line in the past 4 years or so, which is going to be a really, really bullish thing in itself. But first of all, remember that the reclaim of 4,000 is a trigger. We need to wait for the reclaim of 4,000. I am someone who plays level by level. I'm not someone who would continue to hold something for like 4 or 5 years. I'm simply just playing level by level. If price drops down to 3,000, I'm a buyer there. If price reclaims 4,000, I would buy at the reclaim of 4,000. Okay, I would simply just wait for the retest of 4,000. But the point that I'm trying to explain here is that let's suppose the next monthly candle for the month of August looks something like this. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's say it looks something like this. And the candle has complete body above this trend line. Then if we change the background to, let's disable the middle line and now if the monthly candle closes like this, you can see that even if the full candle body is above this trend line, because we are talking about the monthly time frame chart, there will be a wick down to, let's suppose 3,400, or even let's suppose down to 3,000 level. Okay, you wouldn't really be able to notice it. Let me give you an example for this. This was during the month of May 2021. We had a wick all the way up to 4,400 level. We had a wick all the way down to 1725. So just in the month of May, price was at 4,400 as well and down to 1,700 as well. And then the candle closed somewhere in the middle at 2,600, 2,700. So the point here is that, because we are talking about the monthly time frame chart, it would take 30 minutes for this candle to 30 days for this candle to close, meaning that even if there is a wick down to 3,000, the whole candle is going to look like this. And you would say that, okay, this is a very nice breakout. This is a very good breakout above the trend line. Few months after, this month of August, you wouldn't even bother looking at this wick. But this wick is still there, showing you that there was a wick down to 3,000 level, which means that there can be a move down to 3,000, and it may very well happen during the next month of August. And historically speaking, August has been really bad month, so that is why it's just I'm going to play a little bit safe. And because 4,000 is a resistance, so I really do not have any reason not to sell at 4,000. 85% position we already exited. On the 4-hour time frame chart, yesterday that was a very good opportunity. Okay, but remember that on the 4-hour time frame chart, first of all, you have this trend line, which price is about to break below. I'm telling you this thing. Price is about to break below this trend line very soon. But secondly, that was a classic definition of an uptrend. You have a break of structure. Okay, you have a break of structure, right? And you can see that you would draw the fib level, start of impulsive wave, end of impulsive wave, and price is precisely bouncing at 61.8% fib level, right? But in any case, I have this trend line in my mind. I know that price is gonna go down to 3,000. It will take some time, but it's going to be down to 3000. It will go down to 3000 sooner or later. So that is why I'm not comfortable bidding this level right now. This trend line is going to be the nightmare for a lot many people, because all these people who are bidding at the retest of this trend line, they are placing the stops below this trend line, which means that even one candle close below this trend line is going to be horrific. And on top of that, I do not like the fact that the stock market continues to create new all-time highs. I mean, you can see this for yourself. We are literally sitting at all-time highs on stock market. Even one single drop, one small drop on in the traditional markets, in the stock market, is going to be, once again bring catastrophe to the Bitcoin market, to the crypto market, sorry. And this level has not been retested, 6154 level on ES, which means that if there is a drop, like it could be because of tariffs, it could be because of a war news, anything could be happening, right? Then we may see price drop down to 6154, 6150 level, and this is going to somehow perfectly synchronize, in my opinion, with 108k to 106k levels. Okay, Daniel is saying another analyst is speaking about bidding the ELD open. Let's take a look at the ELD open on ETH. Yes, ELD open is usually a very good place to bid on any coin. Let's take a look at the ELD open. So ELD open on ETH is at 336. So that is a good opportunity. Yeah, 336, not exactly the level that I'm looking at. I'm looking at 3000 to be precise. But yes, because it's ELD open, we know that ELD open is usually a very good point to enter into position. In fact, price had a break above this level, and there was a precise retest at this yearly open. So that was a good opportunity, another good opportunity at 3346 level to buy Ethereum. But yes, yearly open, you are right. Yearly open is usually a very good opportunity. Not with every single coin. Okay, it depends. The way that I usually treat yearly opens is that I try to make sure that yearly open is somehow synchronized with some higher time frame support or resistance level. In this case, because it's not so much synchronized with some higher time frame support, the higher time frame support is at 3500. The next one is at 3000, 3100. So I'm not really going to give much importance to this one. And especially if you draw the fib level. Now, this is the most important thing. Go to the daily time frame chart. And if you draw the fib levels on this whole wave, okay, if you draw the fib level, start of impulsive wave, end of impulsive wave, notice how beautiful this opportunity was. Once again, the same story. Because the trend is uptrend, because there is this uptrend going on, because the trend is bullish, okay, you have the identification of waves, draw the impulsive and corrective waves precisely. All you have to do is just differentiate between impulsive and corrective waves, draw the fib levels from the start of impulsive wave to the end of impulsive wave, okay, and bid at 61.8, 65%, 70.5% fib level. In this case, if you draw the fib level, look how beautiful this is. Just like I mentioned to you, the fib levels are perfectly synchronized with this higher time frame support, 2800, 3000 support. And we know that 2800, 3000 is a very good support level. So there could be a wick down to this level, and that is going to be one hell of an opportunity to buy Ethereum. Remember what I was saying about the previous one? I was mentioning that it's going to be the easiest trade of the year. Same is the case with this one. This one is going to be even easier than the previous one. Whenever you have a retest of 3000, please do not miss it. So now BTC.D and Total 2 are at resistance. So you would be looking at shorts. No, you have to look at it the opposite way. Total 2 is at higher time frame resistance, but Total 2 is at smaller time frame support. And Bitcoin dominance is at resistance. They cannot be both at resistance the same time because they work like in the opposite way. If Bitcoin dominance is at resistance, Total 2 has to be at support. And if I show you the Total 2 chart, you would see this for yourself that there is this small support for Total 2, which it is bouncing at. But so far, it's not really a comfortable position for me to open any long positions. I actually am not comfortable with any long positions right now. Yeah, this shit went down real quick. Okay, guys, I guess that's it for today. But first of all, I request to all of you, please make sure to like this live stream. Please make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're new to this channel, we share lots of good content over this channel, and there is going to be even better content in the future. There is going to be live streams with proper live trading events as well. So yeah, please make sure that you're already subscribed to the YouTube channel. Make sure that you have the notifications turned on so that you do not miss any of the videos that come on this channel. And if you're not following me over Twitter, 𝗟R𝘁𝗲𝗏, this is my Twitter handle. I occasionally share market updates, calls, everything over my Twitter account as well. Or if you would like to receive more organized updates and calls, you can always join in the Discord server. The link you can find in the description of this video. Discord server. This call, for example, was shared in the Discord server just before the live stream started. And other stuff also is shared in the Discord server. So you can always join in the Discord server. Thank you so much for joining in. I hope you guys liked the live stream. Take care and have a great week ahead. And by the way, you guys can claim the free trial of the premium Discord server as well. Okay, free premium trial of Discord server. All you have to do is just join the Discord server, open up a support ticket, and you need to have an account with BLOFIN. That's it. That's all literally you need to have an account with BLOFIN, and you can be eligible for claiming the free premium subscription of the Discord server. Thank you so much. Take care. Have a great week ahead. Bye bye.